See if it goes live. Hey, it looks like it went live. Now we'll just wait. Okay, it looks like it worked. Now YouTube changing everything up again. So it's been a while since I've done anything, and I decided let's go ahead and do a little rant today. And I find they've done away with the classic, and they've done this, and they've done that. Yep, what they always do. Anyhow, thank you, Google. I appreciate having to go through all this. But anyhow, here I am. I guess I'm live. So, as you know, we're in a lot of deep shit. Anybody that's awake to what's going on around you realize that we are in a lot of trouble. And we as a people cannot pull our heads out of our you know what and start working together and start standing together and not complying with your tyranny, then, well, what's going on in today's society is only going to get worse and worse and worse, and to the point of no return. And you're almost there right now. You are literally almost there right now. It's just so unbelievable to me to watch and see what's actually going on. It really is. It's so unbelievable. I sit here and I look at what's really going on, and I just get disgusted. People's behaviors, people just putting on the muzzle, the old freaking big old psyop with Mr. Trump. And I knew it fucking the minute I seen that come up. Yep, this is going to be a big psyop. It's going to be another push towards you know what? You know, that needle thing? Okay. And they're going to be sticking a needle in everybody. You know, and you got the military to distribute it, of course, you know. And we've only just begun. You haven't looked at what's really going on. We got another hurricane this late in the season getting ready to come in again. Okay. This ain't going to end, man. I told you the other day that the power lines all over this town are running through trees. Trees hasn't been turned away from power lines in a long time. You can see it when you're running around this town. Man, first time we have a nice heavy wet snow or an ice storm, it's over with. Power's out. Right in the middle of January, February. Yep, that's about what it'll be. I see that coming, and I'm sure that's going to be coming for a lot of people. You know, and then of course, you know, they're going to turn that around. They're going to say, well, the power grid is getting old and it's failing. No, the only thing that's failing is people are failing to do their jobs and keep up the routine maintenance. That's the only thing that's failing. But what do you say, man? You can just keep going on and on and on with this crap, but I don't know what to tell you. I can tell you this. I'm getting fucking sick of watching this shit. You can't even get the manosphere to stand together, man. They're all fucking too worried about games. They're all going along with social engineering. They're all playing the words. You know, the words that was programmed in their heads their whole life that they believe is true, that isn't true. You can't get them to wake up. People still think they're going to vote. They're still thinking blah, 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 that Trump's a good guy. I put the other video up to show you that they're all related. And I've known this for years, okay? But I wanted to put that in your face a little bit. And I actually thank Richie from Boston for that one because I've known that for years, you know. And I watched Richie from Boston a little bit, and I can see the guy's quite real with what he's doing. I can tell by the demeanor. I don't know where he gets his money, but don't mean he didn't come from a somewhat wealthy family. Don't mean he didn't get an inheritance. I mean, you got to figure you don't know this guy personally, but I can tell you this by the body language. Okay, the guy means well. The guy's done. Well, I've watched. He's been telling all truth. But you get a lot of people that hate his guts and say he's a shield and say he's this and say he's that. He possibly could be working for the establishment. But I'm pretty good with body language, and when I watch him, I don't think he is. I think we have people who are jealous. I think we have people just making accusations. We may even have some actual employees of the establishment painting him out that way. But just the same, yeah. Richie from Boston, though, I've been watching him here for about 3 months, and I'll tell you what, I'm pretty good with body language. I really am, and he's not bullshitting people. This guy's real, okay? And this shit about he's this and he's that is just what it is. It's hogwash. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to listen to people, or I've judged people by what I see, not what they see. Okay, and I got my eyes on everybody. If they're freaking working for the establishment, sooner or later they'll tell on themselves. But at this point in time, I'm going to stand with the guy because I've seen him doing nothing but telling truth. I can see the passion, the anger, and I understand it. How do you get people to see what's going on, man? Their own demise is coming their way. You keep putting on that mask. You just keep complying with the orders. Okay? And you're going to wish the hell you hadn't. Because the only thing you're doing is helping them. It's just like these auditors. I'm looking at these different auditors all over YouTube, and you know what they don't realize? They don't realize, see, they think they're fighting for your Constitution. They believe they're practicing the First Amendment and so on, okay? And some of them even the Second Amendment. And I'm looking at these auditors and I'm watching some of their tactics, and some of what they do is intimidation. Some of these guys are just clowns. But the one thing that they are doing is they're helping to destabilize the country and don't even know they are. Because they're going after the wrong party. The cops are on the lowest level of your government branches, except for the higher up in the Justice Department. Cops and sheriffs are on the sheriff in a county, okay, yeah, but other than that, cops are on the lowest level of the tier of you know, and you have to go higher than that. If you're going to change the behavior of the cops, you have to change the behavior of the people who's ruling the cops. And that would be your justice system and your corporation called a government. That's right. That's who that would be. That would be the corporation called a government. Okay, and this is nothing but about control. That's what this whole thing is, man. This is the Great Reset. I don't care what people tell me. I've witnessed this stuff all year long. I'm watching. This is not going away. Even after this fake show, stage show, Hollywood act of an election, of a CEO of a corporation, because that's what it comes down to. It's the CEO of a corporation because that's what it is. That's what all governments are. And then you have the United Nations and you have the CDC. I mean, the CDC isn't even a government entity, it's privately owned. It's another corporation. You got all these so called professionals that are paid off. You know, the tool, the money, that root of all evil. And so many people want to deny that money is the root of all evil because they're so blind. They're so naive. I watch all these people up here on YouTube that annoy the hell out of me because they want to speak truth, but I'm not going to do it if I don't get paid from it. Yeah, I got to have some of the bankers' money, the 13 families that are doing this to us. Yeah, I got to allow the tool that's keeping me enslaved to keep me enslaved. Yep, because I got to have more of it. Yep, so I'm up here pretending to care. That's right. That's what a lot of these people on YouTube are doing. And they actually don't care. They ain't making no money. They disappear. You wouldn't see them on the tubes no more. No, they'd be gone. Because they're not making money. Because they think telling the truth costs money. Well, who owns the money? The very people that are responsible for all this. It's just insanity, man. You can't get it through people's heads. They don't want to believe the truth when they're told the truth. They want to just, oh, no, that couldn't be true. Of course, they didn't look into anything themselves. They didn't practice sitting back and watching what's going on, did they? They didn't use critical thinking skills. And unfortunately, when you don't use critical thinking skills and you don't examine what's going on right now, man, you're a bumbling idiot. And I hate to call people names, but I'm telling you, if you can't see the writing on the wall by now, I don't know what to tell you, man. Obviously, you're blind as a bat. How do you get people to wake up, man? You know, I think of so many different things that we could do, man, but non-compliance is the best thing that anybody could do at this time and age. And getting ready for the worst because food shortages are coming, people. You can count on that. Food shortages are coming. You know, you hear about the darkest winter ever lived. Well, you're about to witness it this coming winter. Power outages, food shortages, more mayhem. You know, Dutch sense caught them shooting right off a right off a military base, shooting a laser weapon. That's right, he caught him, man, and you know he caught him again with the Madridian fault line, shooting a damn laser weapon into that fault line, causing the ground to heat up, and the radar actually showing the heat spots. And then little earthquakes, which he said was going to happen after they done that. And that's exactly what happened. These fools at the military industrial complex are trying to set off earthquakes. They're going to be trying to set off volcanoes and earthquakes, and they're going to be giving you weather warfare. This is the type of war you're going into, where you're going to have weather warfare being used against you. I mean, you know, you people believe they can't control the weather. You better get your head out of you know what? They've been manipulating and controlling weather for 50 plus years. And they have it down to an art. And they're using it. Why do you think half this country was on fire? And there's still fires burning right now. It's not as bad as it was, but there's still fires burning. And you know, and all these so-called auditors really need to wake up because the only thing they're doing is helping to keep society or a country destabilized. That's what they want. If you're going to bring down a country, you got to bring in foreigners. Well, we've had that happen. You got to create division. You got that going on. That's right. You got to crash the currency. Well, yep, the bankers planned that one out great. It was created by debt. We could use what we created as a weapon against you to crash the currency so we can take total control over you with digital currency. That's exactly what's going to happen, man. You ain't going to have no privacy at all. We're going to put cameras everywhere. And this is another joke that just makes me laugh. You got all these idiots on YouTube that are afraid to be filmed. They hate being ever somebody pointing a camera at them. But yet everywhere they go in society, there's a camera pointing at them. Have you figured that out yet? You can't go down the street without cameras on poles. You can't go into any grocery store anywhere or even convenience store everywhere you go. You're on film. You're on film everywhere you go every day. And so some guy walking down the street holding a camera, and you know, oh, you're offended by that camera, by golly. And I laugh my butt off at you. Idiots fucking, you know, then some of these guys carrying cameras doing these audits are just idiots carrying cameras. I literally watched this guy say something, then freaking 10 minutes later, he denied ever saying it. Well, he just filmed himself saying it. And now he's denying it 10 minutes later that he ever said it, and he's got it on his camera that he didn't. But of course, if he played it back, he would hear himself say it. See, that's what I call an idiot with a camera. I can't help myself. I call that an idiot with a camera. That's what happens when you put a camera in an idiot's hand. You get idiotic results. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, we're just getting really bad, you know. And I haven't been watching anything Steve Hoke has done. I'm ignoring that like the plague, you know. And I hate to be that way towards Mr. Hoka, but Mr. Hoka disrespected me, not the other way around. He's the one to come on my live stream. He told me he didn't want any kind of differences, which I agreed with, right? And he told me if ever I got mad or had something he needed to say, he'd call me on the phone. It would never be done on air. I agreed with that, no problem. And then he comes on my live stream and rips me a new ass and tells me to throw TFL under the bus. And then I respond to what he says. Oh, now I'm blocked. Yep, I've been here before, haven't I, Steve? That's right. See, but I believe in the three strike rule, Steve. Okay, just like with Dwayne Holloway, strike three, he was out. I don't talk to him, won't talk to him ever again. And unfortunately, Mr. Hoka hit strike three this last time. It's the third time he's done this. Attack me, I mean, I guess he thinks it was a double standard or something. That it was okay for him to to go on live and do what he did, but don't me say anything about him live. But he'll say whatever he wants about me live. There's a double standard going on here, Steve. Well, as long as there's a double standard going on here, I really don't care. No sweat off my back. I've done nothing but respect him, listened to him, supported him. But this is what you get. People don't know how to be friends in today's society. People are messed up. They don't know how to treat other people. They want to treat other people the exact way they don't want to be treated themselves. Okay? And then they'll treat somebody that way, and if it comes back on them, they'll blame the person that come back on them when they're the ones that done it to begin with. They're not smart enough to see that. It's more brainwashing. It's people's inability to connect. People don't know how to connect no more. That's why you see all this grief going on, man. They've divided us and broke us up so bad and took your ability to connect in real life to go out and have friends. And now they're making it worse. They're trying to tell you got a 6 foot distance and put on a muzzle. No more than groups of this many. Yeah, you see what they're doing, don't you? It's all social engineering. It's all NWO. I ain't no freaking, off the grid. When it comes to right wing, left wing, Democrat, Republican, conservatives, all that BS, that's all a damn stage show. They're all one and the same. They all follow the orders from the same people. Both sides get their orders from the same people. What you see playing out is Hollywood. They've got the acts down pat, man. They fucking script this stuff and they put it in your face, and everybody gets involved and believing it's real when it's all a fantasy. It's a mirage. It's a hologram. It's an illusion. It ain't even real. How many presidents do you gotta have, and how many times have you been told they would do this, and not one president ever done anything he ever told you to do? Of course he didn't. Every now and again they'll burp out one thing they said they'd do and disregard everything else. Okay? But that's about it because it's all a Hollywood act. You don't have a vote. Who are you voting for? Who somebody puts, okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to rebuild the government. Okay, we're going to do it the way they've done it. And then I'm going to give you a choice for your presidents. And I'm going to throw John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, and Jeffrey Dahmer. And I'm going to throw them up there and I'm going to tell them, okay, guys, which one do you want to be your leader? Your God. Okay? And you're all going to pick. Okay? And then you're going to vote. And then you're going to complain at the results, but you know who they was before you put them there, huh? You hear people all the time saying, well, we know that the Democrats and the Republicans, the politicians lie to us. Oh, but that's acceptable, right? Well, see, there you go. You accepted the fact they could lie to you, and you went along with it. Then you bitch when they lied to you. And you complained when they lied to you. But yeah, you all sit there and say, yeah, well, we know they lied, and you run right on down there and vote for them. And it's like, really? I thought you said you know they lie. And then you wonder why you're in trouble. You wonder why we're where we're at. You want to talk about a world full of cowards? That's what we have, man. We have a world full of cowards. Most of you are afraid to hurt somebody else's feelers because that's becoming a crime too, you know. It's called a feelers crime, yep. Hurt somebody's feelers. How'd you hurt their feelers? I told them some truth. Yep, that's all it took. Told them a little bit of truth. All their feelers are hurt. Darn feelers. It's freaking retarded. This is the type of insanity that I see going on all the time. Yeah, I shut down Saturday Night Live. Yes, I did. Okay, there was just no point no more. I done said everything, you know, and you ain't listening. People in the manosphere ain't listening anyhow. They don't care. They want to go on with the game. You know, as soon as they got a little reprieve from the BS in society, because they're doing it in steps, they gave them a little break over the summer. Everybody just went back to thinking they were normal. And now they've normalized putting a muzzle on their face. Yep, you watch people just think they got to go everywhere with it. You know, touch it, handle it, put it in their pocket, take it out of their pocket, put it on their face, wear it all day, take it off, put it back in their pocket, blah, blah, blah. Gets dirty, gets moldy, gets whatever from the moisture out their nose with the breathing in it. Pretty soon it's going to get bacteria in it, and they're going to be breathing that in along with their CO2. And the mask ain't protecting them from nothing anyhow. Never has, never will. And all the medical professionals know this, and they know this, and they know this. And they openly lie, and they openly lie. Why are they openly lying to you? Oh, that's right, for the tool. For their money. You know, for what the bankers own that they keep us enslaved with. Rather than walking away from their money and creating a whole new system for ourselves and learning how to stand together, we're just going to keep divide and conquer, divide and conquer. You're going to go right, you're going to walk right off the cliff, all for your tool. You really are. And you're going to take all the innocent with you while you're doing it. That's right. The children and the people that are awake that have been trying to tell you. They're the innocent. And you dummies that ain't getting ready, you dummies that are attacking us, you dummies that are going along with it for the tool, that's the dummies. You got to have money to tell truth. So you got to have what's keeping you enslaved. You've lost. And you drug everybody else that was willing to fight down with you from your ignorance, from your greed. You know, the virus that attacked the human brain. That's right. What is the virus that attacked the human brain? Oh, that's power and money. You know, power and greed. Power, greed, and ego. Them are the three things that absolutely corrupt the human mind. Power, greed, and ego. And we got a lot of that out here, don't we? We got egomaniacs up the ass all around us. That's right. These egomaniacs, well, they'll do anything to cover up their ego. That's right. They'll go corrupt because their ego told them so. Just like their television. All these people thinking like a TV and acting like a TV. That's how, you know, that guy in that movie Network, man, that guy screamed it and screamed it, and he screamed the truth in everybody's face. He literally did. He told the entire audience that they act like a TV, they dress like a TV. They shut that damn TV off, and he was correct. If everybody would shut their TV off in January in this country, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in right now. We wouldn't be in the shape we're in right now. You couldn't do that, could you? Nope. Had to keep that TV set on. Had to believe what was being fed to you. Because you know your TV would never lie to you. And I was just like, wow. Just wow. How stupid people are, man. How did I get here? How did we end up on a planet where people just freaking are so big cowards and so dumb? Man, I'm telling you, the elite done a number, man. These bankers have done a number. Throughout the decades, they have really, really brainwashed people and dumbed them down bad. I mean, the victim status is through the roof. Because that's what we are. We're victims. And why people can't see that they're the victims of their own stupidity. Because we, the people of this world, are the ones with the power. Not these 13 families. You know how many people worldwide outnumber these 13 families, but by how much? But yet these 13 families told you to put a muzzle on your face and stay at home, and you done it. Unreal. I get sad about it sometimes. I really do. But you know, I shut the TFL Saturday Night Live down for a reason. I wouldn't try to be an ass when I shut it down, but I did. I shut it down for a reason. You know, and it's sad. I shouldn't have to, but you know, I did it because what for? You argue with me, laugh at me, you know, and not all of you, so don't take it wrong, because I'm not talking to every one of you. You know, there's some good people out here. Off the grid, I like you. Okay, and there's actually quite a few of you I like. I just, you know, I don't like trolling. It's a serious topic. It really is. And people really got to start taking this stuff seriously. I didn't like that to have a fallout with Mr. Hulk again, but I didn't ask him to do it. I want the one that started this shit. I'm not the one that does what he does, man. I don't tell the guy what to do, but I sure the hell would never go to the extremes he does of treating somebody I call a friend the way he treated me. You know, and when he said no, we're not to take anything public, I agreed with that totally. Just too bad he didn't abide by his own rules, huh? But there you go, man. Don't, you know, this is what we see all the time, man. You know, people always want to fucking think they can strive over the top of somebody else, and that's that competitive. And they want to tell you what's in our nature. No, it isn't. It's social engineering. You were programmed to believe that you're in your nature to compete against each other, when it's not in nobody's nature and never has been part of nature. That's fancy wording to fool the dumb. The competing against each other is one of the main tools that got us where we're at. Think about it. Everything in life is a competition. You're competing for who gets ahead based on what? Monetary gain. You're competing against each other just to get a woman in your life. Women are competing against each other for that, in that 20%, right? We all know this is going on, but see, this was all social engineering. This has been going on for decades, slowly taking everybody away from being a human being. The cremation of care. Many different programs have been brought into society over the decades before a lot of you were even born. And then the lies that you've been told from the time you were brought home from the hospital as a brand new baby. Your whole life. How are you supposed to get around that? See, this is like I said, man, we're all victims. All of us. No, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to be an ass, but the reality is the reality, man. We're all victims. But we don't have to be victims. We got to learn where the power comes from instead. You got to start growing some tough skin, man. You got to start getting brave. You can't be worried about what they're going to do to me, because if you do nothing, they're going to kill you. This is a genocide program that's coming in right now. And they're not joking. And they're going to do it in ways you never expected. That's exactly what this is coming in right now. It's a genocide program, and there's so many people getting fixed to be ready to die. You know, they had freaking, it's been, and I've heard this already, and I was looking into it, and there's some truth suggested that by 2025, 80% of the United States population will be dead. Now, you figure out the United States population, and you figure out 80%, leaving 20% alive. That means one hell of a lot of people, excuse my language, are going to die. Now, that does not have to happen. That is only going to happen through people doing what they're doing right now. You've got to start standing up. You got to start not complying. Non-compliance. And you got to grow some gonads and be willing to face the raptor, because fighting back now is the only chance we have. And if we're not going to do that, well, then you can just bend over, stuff your head between your legs, and kiss your fucking ass goodbye, excuse my language. Because that's exactly where we're going. I see a glimmer of hope, but the glimmer is so small. Because so many people are just so asleep. There was a gal taking receipts, looking at receipts coming out of Wally World. And she's probably older than me, and she's got her muzzle on, of course. And she acted all scared of me because I wasn't wearing a muzzle. And she was, "Oh, stay your distance from me. I don't want to get sick. You're not wearing a mask." Okay? And it's like, and you could generally see she was actually scared. See, that's because her TV sets her God. See, that's because she's not using critical thinking skills to realize she's been lied to. She's right where her government wants her. Scared shitless, compliant. That's what they want. They scare you into listening to them. So I said you got to get tough, start getting some gonads, and start doing the right things, and that's non-compliance. I say burn the mask. I say freaking let 100,000 people get together in a city and stuck their fucking mask in the middle of the road and set them bitches up. Show these governors and show these freaking corporations, and no, you're not. No, you're not. No. No, we're not listening. They order you to shut your businesses down again. You don't shut them down. Everybody that owns a business, you go open it up just like normal. And all you people on the streets, the cops show up there, you all gather around them cops and you tell them straight up, no, you're not. You outnumber them by big forces with no violence, and you all make it plain and clear the business stays open. You're not doing nothing. Nothing. And what will happen when massive amount of people start doing this? Do you know what will happen? It'll all stop. They won't be able to get by with it. You'll bring the reset to zero. You'll stop them. But then you're not going to keep them stopped unless you don't go after them, lock them up, and make them accountable. That's right. That means lots of government officials and bankers. I say we let the prisoners out of one prison. It's a big prison, because we're going to need that prison for all these politicians worldwide and for these 13 families. And that's where they can rot, right there where they want to put us, outside of the grave. And if they're so big into population reduction, then by golly, we could give them their population reduction and take them out. When they're dead, then okay, we got a population reduction. How'd you like their idea? So I'm sorry, they can't answer me right now. I guess they died. Maybe they didn't like their idea after all. Look, they're all dead. I know that sounds cold, but it's not cold because it's what they want to do to us. So the question mark is, are you going to sit back and let them? Yeah, I think we are. If I pay attention to anything, behaviors in the manosphere, the behaviors of people like Mr. Hoka, then I have to say to myself, well, if this is what we're going to be doing to one another, then maybe you deserve what's coming your way. Maybe we do need to have population reduction and kill billions off. Because if you want to be this stupid, you want to treat each other this way, I have no need to care. Because, see, I care about everybody, but I want us to do what's right on each other. And if we can't do what's right on each other, we got to keep dumping on each other, then maybe you deserve what you're getting, huh? Maybe you're going to deserve what's going to happen. Maybe when billions of people die, it's because you're just too stupid to be alive to begin with. And I hate to say that about you, but by golly, you got a brain in your head. You can use it. You know what's right and wrong. And if you want to go against what's right and wrong and you want to turn it upside down, you go ahead, but then you'll deserve what you get. Yeah, I could agree with that. Just a bunch of non thinking cowards. Yeah, I would agree with that. Because that's really what they are, is non thinking cowards. Yeah, I know. I see what QA says, and yes, I agree with you. I've been trying to help people for years, and it's done. I've done my whole life. Even before the internet even existed, man, I go out of my way to help other people. Never charged them a penny, never asked them nothing. I've done it from my heart. I got taken advantage of a few times by scoundrels, but you know how that goes. But I never let it change my heart. I went out of my way to help people because I wanted to. And so then when I woke up and seen the corruption coming in, the more I looked, the more disgust I got. And the more I looked, and I started speaking out, and I started speaking out. And I've been doing it ever since. Okay? But it does, don't get me anywhere, man. You get censored down, you get pushed down, you lose thousands of videos, you know. I've already lost like 3, 4 channels, and I've lost tons of videos. Okay, and I've spoke up for so long, and I watched the behaviors of people. I've been attacked so many times. You can't do what I do and get up here and do live streams and go up here and do a radio show for almost 5 years and do the hundreds or thousands of videos I've done over the years and expect anything less. I got attacked hard when I first gave TFL the name I gave it. I got laughed at, called a kook, got attacked hard, went all around the world, got attacked some more. Yeah, I mean, and then the journey and fighting the fucking evil in this society. I get green lights through my window, military outside my door, and I get feds coming an hour and a half drive into my freaking where I'm going to a local cop shop to find out where I live and come into my doors just to have a BS conversation with me because I speak the truth. I get to lose a job, my income, because I spoke the truth. When you tell them you don't do it on the job, they say, well, we know that. What kind of worker was Bill? Oh, he was a great worker. Was he always there? Yep. How was his work skills? Oh, he was excellent. Blah, blah, blah. Break me all up. I don't know why'd you get rid of him. Well, see, he makes videos on YouTube on the side at home, you know, and he hurt my little feelers with some truth. And I don't want to believe that truth. And my feelers were hurt. That's what it comes down to. And the tards at the top, well, yeah, they don't like it neither. They get angry. But they're not getting so angry anymore. You know why? Because they know they got you all bent over. That's right. That's why that's right now, 13 families, they ain't really worried at all. Because they know they got you all bent over. They know that they're so damn thoroughly scared that you're not going to do anything about it. They got you right where they want you. And if you could just wake up and realize that and start growing some balls and some clits, you could stop them. You don't got to get a gun out. You don't got to hurt nobody. You just got to not comply. And you got to do it in numbers. I mean, numbers. And the numbers have to grow. When you get enough people worldwide saying F you and stop complying all at one time by the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands, everywhere, all over the place, you'll stop them without ever raising a gun. Whatever freaking hurt nobody, you'll stop them right in their tracks. Why? Because they get their power from us, the people. Where do they get their military from? Us, the people. See, when the majority of your military puts their weapon down, stands down, and says F you, they can't court martial every one of them. They want a military. Their military be gone. They wouldn't have one. It's understanding where they get their power from, us, the people. That is called growing some balls and clits. And stop being cowards, because your cowardly behavior is going to get you dead. Complying isn't going to save your life. You think complying is going to save your life, you're out to lunch in your head. Complying is giving them their wants, and their wants is right now is a genocide program to get the number where they want. And there is no excuse for killing that amount of people off outside of right out evil. We're not running out of resources. Global warming is nothing more than modification, weather warfare modification, to possibly create a climate that we're not in and blame it on the amount of people being alive. Every last bit of everything they're doing is nothing but a hoax. They've lied to people freaking up the yin-yang to bring in their agendas. And they're not going to stop because y'all foolishly listening. You actually believe that oil is a fossil fuel? What are you out to lunch in your head? Oil didn't come from no damn dinosaur bones. Oil was a petroleum that is created by the earth naturally. We're not running out. There's no shortage. Never been a shortage. Never will be a shortage. We're not overpopulated. We could take the entire world's population and move them into Texas. And I'm not lying. You could spread them out in 3 states in the United States, and the rest of the planet would be empty. And you still have tons of room to go. We're not running short of foods. They freaking monopoly. They took over the seed industry for the foods. And then freaking re-engineered it so they could patent it. And then they forced their hands and freaking have their patented seeds on other farmers to control the crops. They paid farmers not to grow crops. They shut down hundreds of farms. Left the farms all alive along the major interstates so the people would see farms, so they wouldn't know nothing was going on. Then they controlled the amount that the farmers were allowed to grow and told them what they were allowed to grow and the only thing they could sell on the market. Some farmers went out of their way and grew other shit and were selling it in their local community, and then the freaking government, the DEA and shit, invaded the farmers' property and freaking held them ransom and took their shit and stopped them from selling their food to the local town. That war was going on for a good 10 years. Willie Nelson, the country singer, got involved with it, trying to fight for the farmers' rights, where you're getting your food from. You haven't paid nothing attention to nothing, man. They burned down meat processing plants, sugar factory plants this year. They've used storms and wiped out crops. Yeah, there's a food shortage coming. They're setting you up right now. Man, I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of ugly stuff coming your way. And there's only one way to stop this ugliness. And that's to grow your gonads and your clits and start standing up and stop fighting one another and stop treating each other like dirt. You know, I don't like bringing Steve Hoka because generally I like Steve Hoka. But I don't tolerate BS. He wouldn't want done unto him what he done unto me. You know, do unto one as you want done unto yourself is how I look at it. And if you don't like that, oh well. I don't go out of my way to make trouble for nobody. I just speak the truth. I laugh at people in the dating arena. You know, I'm the guy that actually had women in my life. I lived TFL for 28 years of my life. Not even 28 because I can't count when I'm a kid, but I was 28 before I got somebody in my life. Since that time, I've had a few women off and on, okay? And I've learned a lot, a whole lot. The advice I gave in the dating scene was the actual real truth. Not the sugar coated upside down on it said bullshit that's being pushed. You know, and of course nobody wants to listen to that. They all want to believe the lies. That's how it is in the dating scene. They all want to believe the lies. And they want to keep going along with the lies. It's fucking unreal. So you can't help stupid, man. There's no fixing stupid. You know, you got to get men and women back together again. It ain't going to happen as long as one gender's above another. And it ain't going to happen if the gender that's below them by engineering, social engineering, like the men, if you keep attacking the women. I understand the women are doing it wrong, but this is where, see, MGTOW, the real name, men going their own way, was never literally taken literally. If it would have been taken literally and done literally by freaking massive amounts of men, all rejecting women in 1 to 5 seconds, over and over and over, and leave it that way for a good decade, you could have stopped the whole damn thing. Because women would have freaking folded and said, well, I don't understand, and then they would have had to come to reality. And eventually the women would have came to reality, and you would never have had to do anything other than that. But because you never took MGTOW seriously and never walked away, for real, you can only blame yourselves. You know, I mean, MGTOWers are saying the guys is practicing pumping and dumping. Our MGTOWers that are going out there, Stu, jumping through all the hoops to try to get in bed with a girl. And then you think getting in bed with a girl is all what a relationship's about. You don't realize you got to be able to become friends first. Sex belongs at the last of the list. But because they moved sex to the front of the list, they got you all manipulated. And you're all thinking, well, if you can't get laid, there's no point in being a friend with her, you know. And it's like, well, getting laid is never what it was supposed to be about. Well, it ain't the first time Steve Hokus threw me under a bus, okay? This is the third time, that's why it's strike three. You don't gotta do nothing to Steve Hoka. See, that's the sad thing about Mr. Hoka. You don't got to do nothing to him. You can respect him and everything. And the first time he disagrees with an opinion you have, he'll attack you while he's calling you his friend. And of course, he drops friends like a bad habit and runs to others. That's what he did with first. Now I was the third wheel. Well, that's not a friend. You know, when Steve finds himself alone with no friends, Steve can only go look in the mirror. Because Steve is the one doing it to Steve. He don't need enemies. He's his own enemy. I can't do anything about that. Steve Hulka don't need enemies. He is his own enemy. You know, and that's why I said I have my 3-strike rule. And this is I hold firmly. Dwayne Holloway hit strike 3 and he's been gone ever since. I don't talk to him, don't associate with him, and I won't. I have no reason to. He's not a friend. Friends don't do these type of things on other friends. I don't go out of my way to shit on them. Okay? But I am honest and I tell the truth and I mean what I say when I come up in videos. I don't sugarcoat nothing and I tell it the way it really is. And I tell it from my own life experiences. And from what I know. Okay? And you know, and it's what can I say, man? I tell it as it is, okay? And if you're somebody's friend, you're their friend. Okay? You know, there's no such thing as a friend that ever didn't disagree. This is what people have to learn how to agree to disagree. And when Steve Hocus says to me this last time around that he don't want to bring anything online, if he gets mad or has something to say to me, he'll say it offline on a phone. And then to come up on my live stream and throw me under a bus and do what he did. See, that's how Steve works. See, and then if I respond to what he did to me on a live stream in front of everybody, then I'm the villain. Because I was supposed to respond under the table behind your backs. Because I did it live and everybody heard it, now I'm the enemy. I'm the one that did wrong. No, I'm not. He couldn't even live up to the very rule he wanted himself. He thought there was a double standard. That's why I said that. Well, there is no double standard. If you didn't want to talk publicly, then you'd never come on my live stream and did it publicly. Now, would of you? It's simple as that. There's not much you can say about that crap. The stuff's gone on forever. Forever and ever and ever. Hold on a second, guys. I'm in a live stream, Jason.
Huh?
I'm in a live stream.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I don't care.
Ugh, fuck smoke.
I know.
When the fuck did I tell it to go back to summer?
Well,
that's how it is out there.
Until next week, it's going cold again.
Say, okay, back to the fucking vest.
Yep. It's going to be a nice day out today. I'm going to enjoy it while we got it because it's getting ready to be really nasty cold. Next week, it's going to be colder again. So.
Well, it doesn't help that I fucking stayed till 11.
No, I know. 12-hour shift. Yep. So anyhow, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a live stream.
I got to deal with fucking 107. Ripping the fucking parts out of the flash, and the fucking loose bits fucking flapping around and getting me in the arm. If you can't fucking tell.
Oh, yeah.
Even good enough to draw blood.
Oh, that's nice. It drew first blood. You get even?
I threw plenty of this shit down the grinder.
You'd be like, oh, you cut me. Well, you gotta take this.
Then I fucking had to do fucking pet ramps for overtime. It's like, that job's not fucking supposed to, to me, that job's not overtime at fucking all.
Yeah, hey, you did the overtime. It just wasn't a job you wanted to do, right?
I'd would have been on fucking 13 with those seats.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Fucking stupid. I got the hang of it to where I had downtime. It's just I still don't think it's an overtime.
Okay, well, I'm making homemade pumpkin pies tomorrow.
Well, I figured at some point you would.
And then sometime tomorrow, or Sunday morning, get some time with your mother and get
Yeah,
this
no.
stuff done. Okay?
Ugh, fuck. I need a fucking AC right now.
Oh, yeah, well. It's in your window, or did you take it out?
I haven't taken it out yet.
Okay, well, you can turn it on, because you might need it over. I'll probably end up turning this one on today.
Alright. Want me to bring the towels back upstairs?
Yeah, if you could, that'd be cool.
It's sitting right here.
Yeah, I know.
Uh-oh.
I still gotta go out and do dishes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know, it's some hours.
It's meow.
So anyhow, guys, I know you're hearing my talking to my son. Yeah, that's how sometimes that happens, right?
Shitty ass timing, in my opinion. You're meowing.
I wasn't ignoring you, by the way. I know I'm still alive. But my son Jason came home. He's been working 12 hours, so he just walked through the door and he normally says hi when he comes home. And I didn't shut the live stream down to say hi to him. Well, you know, Mr. Hoka has issues with how to treat people, and you got to witness that when he came on that live stream and threw TFL and me under the bus. He's had issues this way as long as I've known him. That's why I've said you don't have to do nothing to Mr. Hoka. You don't got to do nothing at all. Okay? The guy has issues, and he's going to find himself alone. Or he'll find himself being set up as a patsy, and he'll get himself locked up, and you know. But we may not have to worry about that much longer, because if they get their population reduction, which they're going after, they're moving in on it hard. We won't have to worry about locking anybody up. But you know, I get my kicks out of people in the manosphere because I've actually had women in my life. And, you know, and I got a son, as you just heard me talking to, that I raised. Yeah, I'm the one that raised him, okay? And I do have experience in this area, and I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, you've got to lose the freaking programming. You cannot keep going with the stuff that they're talking about. And when if you can't get laid by a woman, then you can't be with her. When that becomes the mentality, you've lost. You've already lost. And it's the same with women. Women who, well, if you didn't lay me by the third date, I don't want anything to do with you, they're just as fucked up. Because that's a relationship that will not make it. That's right. That's a relationship between a couple that will not make it. They set themselves up for failure from day one. And these people who tell you men and women can't just be friends, you're full of shit. The foundation of a relationship is friendship and trust. Them are foundations. You do away with the foundation and whine and complain at how we're treating each other, huh? You know what? He ain't never going to get no experience because he's got the wrong mentality. And I'm sure Steve is the same way to women as he is to everybody else. If he don't agree with their opinion, he goes off on them like he does me. And the first time he does that to a female, she's out of there. So I'm sure he's actually costed his own self in some situations. And it's sad, you know, but I laugh at people in the manosphere who try to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, these guys have never had a woman knows more than somebody who's been with women, huh? That's pretty fucking awesome, isn't it? I'm sure you know more than an electrician who's been wiring building commercial buildings and homes for 40 something years, and you're 20 years old. You know more than him, don't you? About his own trade. You've never even went to school for it. That's right. You don't know anything about it. But yeah, you know more than him. Oh, that's what it's like in the dating arena. Online. All these pretenders going along with the programming, trying to outdo somebody else because it's all a competition. Bumbling idiots. It's not a competition. It's not an arena. It's not a sport. Never has been and never will be. We're human beings. What happened to freaking care? There you go. Cremation of care right out the door. The connection broken down, destroyed, swept up, thrown away. Humpty Dumpty fell off a wall. People's abilities to connect and communicate and treat each other properly. That's where this shit comes from. That's why we're all in the situations we're in. We're here because we go along with social engineering. No, I said what I'm going to say, but that's where I come from with Mr. Hulk. I didn't dislike Mr. Hulk. But at the same token, man, what can you say, man? Somebody claims to be your friend and throws you under a bus for freaking the world to see, and then don't want you to say something in return for the world to see, huh? Yeah, right. I don't know what world he lives in, but it's an illusion. It's a bubble. And I don't know what to tell you, man. I try to respect everybody around me, and I treat people the way I want to be treated myself. In my real life, I actually do. I'm not an asshole with people. I've never have been. I go out of my way to help people, but when I help people, I don't ask for anything. I do it because I wanted to. But at the same time, man, you can only shit on me 3 times and it's over with. Third time, and I won't talk to you again. There is no, oh, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. No, no, no. There's none of that, man. When you dump on me, you're doing wrong onto me and you don't give a fuck. Well, then you wouldn't, how would you act if I done that to you? You know you'd be furious. You know you'd be irate. You wouldn't appreciate it at all. Okay, well, Steve be no different than anybody else. You do unto him what he does unto you, and he's not going to like it. You know what I mean? Most people can't handle their own medicine. When their medicine comes back at them, they don't like it. That's why you shouldn't be dishing it. Because when you dish it, expect it in return. And unfortunately, this behavior's got to go away because we're all about to die just because you turned your back to what's really going on in your world. And now's not the time to have your back turned to what's going on in this world. Now is the time you either stand up and rise up and stop complying, or you're all going to wind up dead for complying. Well, they're going to find out what hate is when they got a gun to the back of their head, or where they're sitting in the wrong spot that an energy weapon shot into a fault line and they died in an earthquake. Or when their power goes out in the middle of winter and there ain't no food and they freeze to death and starve to death. You're about to see every evil there's ever been. From plagues to phantom. That's right, starvation, hunger, homelessness. Have you looked on the streets of California? Tent city up and down sidewalks. Why? Because everybody cared. They cared about their greed, their own selfish selves. The same thing I'm witnessing all over YouTube. High impact flicks, nothing but another Alex Jones Jr. He's only there for money. Stop him from making money and he'll disappear off the tubes. And I see lots of people like that all over YouTube. It disgusts me. You wonder why you've lost? You keep having to have the very tool that's kept you enslaved. You cannot win as long as you have to have what's keeping you enslaved. You've lost. Automatic. That's an automatic failure. No way out. Don't matter what you tell me. There is no way out of that. You know, it's sad, but that's the way it goes. I can't do anything about what's going on by myself. I can tell you what's right and what needs to happen, but I can't make you practice the right things. I don't put a mask on for people. I don't care what they think of me. Their opinion of me without knowing me because I'm not wearing a mask don't mean squat to me. Because I can back up what I'm saying, and they're the idiot that's going to lead you to your death because they just won't fucking not comply. Take that damn mask off and stand butt to butt together. You know, it was okay to go out to a protest with no mask on and be butt to butt together, wasn't it? It was okay for all your medical establishments, hospitals, and clinics worldwide to be slow and laying medical workers off during a pandemic. And you couldn't even catch on to the fact that that's not even real. A real pandemic, the clinics and hospitals would be overrun. Every last one of them. Not selected hospitals that you took patients from here, and transfer them all to one, and then front your camera at that one, while you emptied out all the others to make one full. That's what they done. And then they pointed their cameras at that one and told you the entire world was going through what this hospital was, that you took all these people from other hospitals and put them all in one. You didn't show them all the empty hospitals because you took their patients, did you? You didn't show them the empty clinics, and then they're going to tell you at the clinic, it's because everybody's afraid to come to the doctors now. BS! BS alert! BS alert! You know, and it's just the reality is we are running out of fucking time. I'm telling you, we are. And this psyop with Mr. Trump is just to furtherly push that damn needle. So yeah, I get frustrated that nobody's doing nothing. But I guess what did we expect, huh? You couldn't even get the men to stand together. They would rather keep competing against each other so that they can die. Because meanwhile, they're looking the other way. That's right, they're looking the other way. Isn't that what so many people are doing? Because they need to fit in with the others. Yeah, man, I gotta fit in. I wouldn't want anybody to look at me any different, man. No. I can't be an individual. I can't be my own self. No. I gotta act like they're telling me to act, man. They might ostracize me. Somebody might call me a name and I'll hurt my little feelers, and that's what it comes down to. And if they hurt my feelers, then I'm not gonna associate with them no more. Oh, but meanwhile, that same crybaby, well, I don't care if I hurt his feelings. There you go. I'll do whatever I want. Who cares what he feels like? And then when they do it, he does onto them. Oh no! Woo! Now they're crying, little crybabies. We have them all over the place, man. Our world's so messed up. We're so out of reality. It ain't even funny. People are so messed up, man. So you know, occasionally I'll do a live stream like I did today, and just to vent let you know why I stopped doing what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm not going to come up here and get myself involved in the dating scene full of a bunch of idiots that fucking want to keep pushing mainstream media narrative, social engineering, complaining and whining about their problem that they're bringing onto themselves through their own freaking behaviors. And they're not smart enough to see it as their own behaviors that's causing their problems because it's the behaviors that's being promoted by the god the television set. They can't figure out why they're where they're at. They're oversexed and they think sex is the number one thing. And if a woman won't fuck you, she won't be with you. And, that mentality right there is the reason you will always be alone. I don't know what to tell you, man, but that is the truth. I don't care what people tell me. I know what the truth is. And I'm not going to tell you any different than what the truth is. You know how mad people got when I first brought Jane into TFL on Saturday Night live stream? I caught it before it happened. I said, yep, I'm going to be a simp. I'm going to be everything under the sun. They're going to attack me and Jana hard. Within 15 minutes, they didn't even accuse us of being together as girlfriend, boyfriend. And within 15 minutes, that's exactly what happened. And everything I said was going to happen happened to a T. I was a simp and I was this and I was that and blah, 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 blah. The hatred towards women just came rolling right out of them. And they wonder where they're at, huh? Yeah, there they are. I can understand the anger towards women because of the social engineering, but everybody's approaching it by the wrong way. You're approaching it the wrong ways. Two wrongs don't make a right. If you want to get women off their pedestal, you got to stop pampering them. That's right, men. You got a little daughter at home? Stop putting her on a pedestal. If you have a son and a daughter, you don't put that girl above that son. You don't put the son above the girl. Stop the damn babying and pampering. Stop ignoring women's wrongs. Start holding them accountable. Walk away from women. Give them no options. When massive numbers of men walk away from women, men going their own way, and do it literally for real, you catch the women's attention. And only then could you come to a truce and come together and start communicating again. And you have the elite to thank for that. You have 40 plus years of social engineering in the dating arena that's done this to us. So no, this is where we stand. This is where we're at. And and so when I talk about the behaviors, it's just like when I talked about the wording. Sexual marketplace. What is that? Supply and demand. What is that? That is social engineering at its finest. Well, we got to rate him because it's a competition of who's better looking. So we're going to make our little graft of a rating system, and nobody wants to be a number one or number two. Social engineering at its finest. Created to destroy. And that's exactly what it does. The hatred towards women comes from being rejected all the time. From the time you were young. There's a lot of guys that have issues themselves. Like Dwayne Holloway hardly ever left the house. Okay? And if you're never going to leave your house and you're not going to get out there and put yourself out there, you're not going to meet anybody. So that's self-produced. See, true forced loneliness has two definitions. It has self-produced, and then it has the true forced loneliness. They done everything society told them to do, and in 1 to 5 seconds they were rejected by every girl they met, every girl they tried to talk to. And that goes on for years. That actually really happens. No lie. Fact. Okay? But there's a percentage of men that are actually at fault for their own demise. Dwayne was at fault for his own demise. Steve Holker, you can clearly tell, is actually at fault for his own demise. He's scaring the women off. He don't know how to treat even guys as friends, and he's worshiping one guy. Okay, so when you're gonna worship one person and you're gonna go along with the social engineering, and then you're gonna have this mood swing where I'm angry and I'm gonna come in and attack, or I'm gonna disagree with their opinion in an angry way. Rather than agree to disagree, we're going to be angry over there of somebody else's opinion. And he's done this many times to many people. Anybody ever listen to the interviews, the podcast Steve did with Mitchell? Many of them live streams, Steve was literally yelling at Mitchell. He was talking down to him. He was scolding him like a little child. I don't put up with that from nobody. They wouldn't want me doing that to them. Okay? And you know full well you wouldn't want that done to you. You don't have a right to do it to somebody else. You never have had the right, you never will. See, this is a behavior issue. And it's the way you treat other people. It's disconnection of being able to create a relationship. And I'm not talking a sexual relationship. I'm not talking anything like that with a woman or sexual or anything like that. Just to be able to be friends with somebody. You know how many people have lost the art of just being friends? I see it all the time. And until you can get the connection back, how can we ever rise up to stop what's going on? If you can't even use your head in this area, how could I expect you to use your head in the other area? That's really what it comes down to. And I don't care what people tells me because I know this to be factual. Believe me, I've done a lot of homework in the stuff I talk about, and I've lived my life, and I've had experience in my life, and I clearly see what's happened to people. And this is why I say what I say. It's not because I'm wrong. It's not because I'm being an ass. And I didn't say it was going to be easy. But the reality is we're going along with social engineering, what was designed to break us up and destroy us. And that's what the engineering was about. And that's exactly what it does. And then you're fighting each other over the social engineering that you're using that's destroying all of you. You got to pull your heads back out of you know what, and stop using what that damn television set and the freaking books and the school system's promoting. You got to get care back. But you won't have to worry about it much longer because you guys are just going to, you people in the manosphere are going to keep doing what you're doing and shit's going to hit the fan and you're going to be dead. And all the innocent people are going to go down with you because you was too stupid to do anything right. So now the innocent people are going to be taken out with you. The innocent people, the children and the people who are awake. The rest of you, no, not innocent. You were too worried about not fitting in, so you wouldn't stand up. You were too worried about this, so you wouldn't do this. You had every excuse in the book. You reached under the bed, poured out your book of excuses, and made an excuse up for why you're not going to do anything. And if that's what you're going to do, then you're going to get what you got coming to you, coward. You know, it's like this. You're either gonna pick to die as a man or a woman on your feet fighting back, or you're gonna pick to die as a coward on your knees. Which one do you want? Come on, take your pick now. Because there's your choice. Because then reality, them are the only two choices you got, because what's coming into this damn freaking country, what's coming in around the world right now, is no lie. It ain't going away as soon as the election's over. That's some fantasy shit I've been hearing. Yeah, a lot of shit went away after the election was over for years, but not this time. Nope, not this time. This ain't going away anytime soon. You know, unfortunately, the social engineering is what set our mindset, our perceptions, and our behaviors. Your television is set on what everybody else is following along with and what's taught to you in schools nowadays. You're getting lied to from the day you get brought home from a hospital, and your perceptions are being shaped for you, not from you. This is why it's nothing's nature. This bullshit about it's in our nature to compete. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. You know, I mean, this is just like I told you. Your perceptions are given to you. They're shaped for you. That's what brainwashing is about. That is what brainwashing is to change one's perceptions to what somebody else wants it to be. That is brainwashing. And they have perfected the art of brainwashing entire populations. And they're doing it very successfully. And unprogramming yourself is the hardest part. Recognizing what they've done and turning your head to it and saying, fuck you, and self checking yourself. And it takes a lot of work on one's own self to unprogram themselves from the behaviors that were shaped for them. And that is exactly what has to happen. Because if that don't happen, then what are you going to do? I mean, you know, the reality is what the reality is. And there's nothing I can do about that. I can only tell you the right things that we have to be able to do if you want to stop what's coming in. And if you don't stop what's coming in, quit whining when you find yourself with no food and you can't get no food, and you find yourself with lines of people for blocks just to get fucking a meal in their stomach. When you find yourself in a situation where people are dying left and right and people are killing each other for the food, and because that's what's coming. Every evil you can think of, from war to energy weapons to earthquakes to hurricanes to floods to volcanoes to snowstorms that are blinding, that drop power lines and drop trees, and anything that you can think of that's evil, this is what you better be ready for, because it's coming your way. And that's what the winter of 2022 is going to be all about. 2021 is going to be all about. Sure is. Agenda 21. Oh, what will it be in January? 21. When did they start bringing Agenda 21 in? In 2018. Yeah, right under your nose. And then when 220 got here, when 20 got here, oh yeah, then they upped the antes. And they brought in what they've been planning for 31 years. I can take you back 31 years ago 31 years ago and show you where they said the invisible bug's name 2020. No lie. I can show you 31 years ago and I can bring you clear up to the day's date with different examples. I can show you two people telling you about it openly before it transpired. And nobody listened. I believe it was Eisenhower that warned everybody about the military-industrial complex. You didn't listen. You didn't take his warning serious. Most of you wasn't even alive right now when he was in office. So you didn't even know about it. You never even heard about it. It wasn't listened to. It wasn't taken seriously. Just like men going their own way was taken out of context, thrown on mainstream media to destroy it so that it would never take off. Nobody took it literally because of that. It was manipulated so that it wouldn't happen because that was the one thing that would have brought the genders back together again. And the powers to be, the 13 families knew this. They knew of men in massive numbers walked away from women. Eventually, men and women would come back together. They couldn't have that. That's the only reason men going their own way went on mainstream media. It's the only reason it made mainstream media was to destroy it, was to manipulate it, so that the people becoming MGTOW would be going the wrong direction. So that they would continue to play the game and they would practice pump and dump. Where do you think that came from? They couldn't let you actually really do it because if you really done it, within 5 to 10 years, men and women would have come back together again. Naturally. And the anger would have went away and the communication would have actually started. And they knew it. You're damn right that would have overturned the programming. And they know it. I knew it. And I told people, men going your own way was the greatest thing ever come up with. But then it was destroyed. And why was it destroyed? For that very reason. Because it's the one thing that would have worked. It's the one thing that would have brought the genders back together again. It would have overturned their social engineering, their brainwashing. And it sure would have. But that ain't going to happen because none of you took it for real. You got up here and lied. Because that's what we do best in today's society is we lie. You get offended by truth. So you hate people like me because I tell truth. And you attack people like me for telling that truth. Now that's not true. That BS about women having low sex drive is just what it is. It's BS. There's men with low sex drive and there's women with low sex drive. There's men with high sex drive and there's women with high sex drive. That crap of women don't like sex as much as men will make any woman laugh their head off. Because they all know it's a lie. I know it's a lie. Women know it's a lie. And when I talk to women and I bring that up, they laugh. And when I say it's not true, they're immediately, you're damn right it's not true. You're damn right it is. That's what I'm telling you, man. This BS about women not liking sex as much as men is just exactly what it is. It's more social engineering. They have pulled every step out of the hat to mess people up, and that's exactly what they've done. No, relationships are built over time. And that's the drunk hope. They're built over time. Sex naturally comes with a relationship that's built over time. Sex belongs at the last of the list. Everything is upside down, and you better remember that. That's why I said this BS statement about if she won't fuck you, she won't date you. Well, there you go. That's social engineering 101 right in your face. That guarantees you to be a lonely person the rest of your life. You just keep that mentality rolling so you can stay TFL. Telling you, man, people are idiots. I don't know what to say other than what I've said, but I'm telling you right now that we are running out of time. If you think the elite, the 13 families, ain't serious with what they're doing, you're totally wrong. If you think this is just going to disappear right after the election, oh no, not at all. This is going to escalate, and this is going to get a lot worse. And there's going to be a lot of people dead. Because this is Agenda 21. And you people don't want to believe Agenda 21 is real, you better look where it come from. It come right out of the United Nations. You better start checking your local cities. Why? Because you're going to find all kinds of stuff that's linked right back to United Nations. Like sustainable development. I'll guarantee you, your town and your city here in America, your city, if you go to your mayor, you'll find out that your city or your town has already implemented a sustainable development program. Right from United Nations. And when you hear Obama talking about green, going green, you hear him talk about global warming. That's right. All the stuff they've been telling you all goes right back to Agenda 21. Every last bit of it. Just like I told you, you're not paying attention to wording. Wording. You've got to really be awake to wording. Even in the dating scene, sexual marketplace, supply and demand, your market value, your rating system from 1 to 10. Every last bit of this is social engineering. To hide Agenda 21, we covered up with global warming, sustainable development, going green. Yeah, we give it some great names. It's like the Patriot Act. Oh my God, it has to be a good document. It's Patriot. But if you actually pull up the Patriot Act and read it, you'll find out it's enslavement, it's tyranny. You'll find out it's the very opposite of the name. And when you don't believe the stuff's happening, all you got to do is sit back and pay attention to what's going on around you and then compare it to Agenda 21's documentation. When you do that, you will clearly see that is what's going on. They're not going to stop. They have Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and Agenda 2050. By 2050, they plan on having it all done. They start off with Agenda 21. That's to reduce the population down to the numbers they wanted. By 2030, they bring in wireless, self-driven cars. Everything's electric. We do away with all gas-driven vehicles. Oh, that's right. You're not allowed to travel no more. Oh, that's right. You'll never be allowed to own property. Nope. Not at all. And you will do as what's told because you're going to have a social credit score. And if it gets too low, you go to prison. And then if you don't correct it, they assassinate you. They kill you. Welcome to the world you all want. Now, you don't want that. But you're not going to turn your head and make it go away. You're complicit when you turn your head. That means you're saying, okay, go ahead and come over here and stick a big stick up my you know what. I don't care if it's got thorns on it. Go ahead and shove it in there as deep as you can. I'm complicit. I'll comply. Don't worry about the lube. You might as well say that. Don't worry about the lube. I would like it from a thorn bush switch. Yeah, you can shove it as deep as you want and go in and out. No. That's really what people are saying. You say, oh, I would never say, well, yeah, you are. You're complicit, ain't you? If you're throwing on your mask, you're complicit. If you're staying 6 foot apart, you're complicit. It's in your face. Pay attention to what's going on around you. This winter is literally going to be the darkest winter you've ever seen. There's going to be man-created snowstorms and shit that's going to dump all over you. Watch and see. There's going to be droughts and tropical climates. There's going to be food shortages, power outages. I wouldn't put it past there be an earthquake or two. And then next summer is going to roll in. It's going to be more hurricanes, more tornadoes, volcanoes, anything and everything you can think of. They're going to pull it all out of the stops, man. They're coming at you. I'm only going to tell you this, man. Our time's running out, guys. But I come up here, did a live stream. I don't know how long it's going to be processing this damn thing because of the new changes they've made. I can't promise that, but I'm happy that you were here. Okay, I really do appreciate that. Okay, for what people are in here right now that are understand and know what I'm talking about, I just hope that you'll stop wearing your mask. If you're wearing it, don't. If you're 6 foot distancing, don't. The more people with non-compliance, and if you can get your friends to do the same, the better off we are. Because we need numbers now. I'm telling you, we need numbers of people. You know, Germany and United Kingdom, they protested against the second lockdown. They sure did. And because massive people hit the streets when they ordered to lock down a second time, the lockdown never happened. Now, how do you suppose you're going to stop it here if they do it? It's the same way. How can you get out of the social engineering of 6 foot distancing and face masks? By non-compliance. That's how. Because they got their power from us. Stop listening. In mass numbers, stop listening. It is the only way. And for all of you clowns on YouTube that think that you have to do what you're doing for monetary gain, the very thing that's keeping us all enslaved, the one thing we have to take away from the 13 families is the monetary systems. They've got to be stopped. The monetary systems have to be changed and given back to the people and the people only. Governments have to be reduced down to like 4 or 5 people, and that's it. That's it. That's all you need. And they have to constantly being checked by the people, and held to a restrict thing. And voting, no, that's going to go down to picking people off the streets by people, and not by anybody wealthy, by nobodies. That's right. Nobodies will pick the candidates that's going to be take place of them 4 or 5 people. And elections will be freaking fair. You'll do away with electronic machines. It'll all be a hand count. I know it's going to take longer. And when a monetary system, a new one, you create a new one, you give everybody the same pay. regardless of what their job is. You give them a real wealthy pay, a pay that'll secure their life. And everybody gets it that works. And nobody has to work the long shifts no more now because we're going to teamwork to make everything and grow the food and everything we need. If everybody just does 4 hours a day, everybody, and we do it in teams around the clock, we can have everything that we ever wanted. And we could all be paid a really good income of exactly the same amount. Everybody, exactly the same amount, regardless of what your profession is. Why do I say that? Because that's the only way you'll do away with division. You can't have a hierarchy of division using the tool, money. Everybody's got to have the same amount. And it needs to be a valued amount that'll secure their life, which means they want to go on vacation, they got the money. The car breaks down, they got to get a new car, they got the money. They want a house, they got the house, and guess what? They get to own the house. Nope, no more property taxes on your house. Nuh-uh. Nope, somebody else don't own your house. Nope, you get to actually own it. See, if I was in charge, I would change everything, but everybody'd be happy with what they had. And anybody that tried to become corrupt for themselves would be, you wouldn't have to worry about cops. They'd be pleased by everybody around them because nobody would want to give up what's being given to them for what little they have to do. And everybody would want. See, like I said, man, I know how to get rid of the division. I know how to make a world that's fair for everybody. And to stop the homelessness, to stop all the bullshit that's going on. I know how. But of course, you know, they'd shoot me dead before they'd let me do it. Because everybody thinks they got to be above somebody else. Everybody wants to out earn somebody else because the system has been set up to make you compete. And what does competition do? It divides, causes anger, causes division. And then we hold other people down. We don't give a shit if they're homeless, living in a tent on a sidewalk in the middle of California. We don't give a shit if people go hungry and can't get food. We'll stop people from feeding homeless people in a park. Because we got nothing better else to do, huh? It's fucking sick. You let me take control of this damn planet and I'll change it all. And I'll change it to something everybody will agree with and like. And nobody will ever want to give up. There won't be a need for military no more. No. The failure to grow up. It's all the military is your failure to grow up. You ask people what they need a military for, they tell you, well, to protect ourselves. From what? Your inability to grow up? Well, it's in our nature to kill each other. No, it isn't in your nature to kill each other. There you go again with more of that social engineering. No, there isn't a number you can call, but this is Drunk Hulk. But I do have Zoom on, and you could come in Zoom, and you'd probably be in the show. You did have me in your contacts list unless you've removed me or blocked me. So that's the Drunk Hulk. If you haven't removed me, which you haven't, I'm looking at you right here. All you got to do is log into Zoom and say I'm here. And then I can bring you in. So I said that to Drunk Hulk because he's asking about if there's any way number he can call in. Well, earphones, your audio, that's your sound as long as your mic works. And as long as you got one earphone in one ear, you'll still hear what's being said. And everybody will hear you, so that's up to you. I just know we're in a lot of trouble, and I feel like getting the shit off my chest today. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna come up here and do a live stream, vent, say stuff I've been wanting to say. Try not to be an ass to nobody. you know, you know how that goes. So let me see here. I'll look at something real quick. Let me see if he's here. If I get an answer, then I'll always hear, won't I? Okay, well, anyhow. Yeah, well, that's life. You got an old laptop. But if you decide you want in, just come on Zoom. Yep, well, I don't know how many people in here and how awake people are to what's going on, but now's the time. If you're not awake, you really need to be paying attention. We don't have time to be screwing around because we're running out of that. That very thing. We're running out of that time. I'm going to kick off Santa here. Okay, I kicked the fan on in here. Just getting too damn hot in this room now. Yeah, well, Drunk Hulk, if you're coming on, let me know. I see you're still in the chat. But the reality is what it is, and I'm hoping people take heed to what I'm saying and that you'll stop complying with these ridiculous rules. Okay, because you're gonna it's the only way, man. We have to stop compliance. The United States is armed, but these people want you to pull them guns. They want to take the guns from you, but not before you pull them and use them. Because they're after genocide. They're after genocide is where that comes from, and if you comply, you're going to allow that. And it's like these damn auditors. They don't realize that they're at the lowest tier because they're asleep. I've seen these damn auditors all over YouTube, and the majority of them are all sound asleep. They have the first clue of what's going on. They think they're going to correct the police by using the Constitution, and they're not going to correct the police by using the Constitution. Ah, he is here. So we'll give this a second. Let me make sure that my Zoom picks up his voice when he comes in. Or my OBS studio, I sure hope so. Hitting, bring up the OBS. Okay, Drunk Hulk. Up, the audio's still connected. We'll give him a minute here. Okay, Drunk Hulk, you there?
Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy?
Good, and how are you?
It goes.
Been a
You were
while.
saying some very important things just a few minutes ago, so I felt the need to phone in and give my 2 cents.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you were saying, I'm just going to refer to what somebody had said in the chat, or was it you who said somebody said that, no, it was you, Bill, you had said people feel a need to be above somebody else.
Yes.
that right there, I think, is the crux of a lot of the sickness of our society. Yeah, a lot of it's economic, a lot of it's social, a lot of it's government, corporate corruption but that right there, I think you summarized a lot of the problem in a nutshell. Why is it that, and here's where my 2 cents comes in, why, if somebody is interested in, like, if a man has a certain hobby, like let's say he's really into building model planes, um, if he's like me, if he's really into art and art history, that's considered to be weird by most people. That's considered to be autistic. Yet people putting themselves, people gossiping and, oh, I told you so, if they see their neighbor get evicted, that's not mental sickness, that's not mental illness, to have to feel like you're above somebody else.
It is. And you know what? You do know where that comes from, right, Hope? This mentality comes from your sports and your competitive, what they brought into society. You have to stop and think about it realistically. You go back to the first time they created a sport arena. They got massive people in that arena. You had two teams or whatever it was out there competing against each other. Now you
Right.
took that after you got that going and people were showing up in mass numbers for these sports. You took that and you let it into the dating scene. You let it into the workplace. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're competing against each other in the workplace. Now you're competing against each other for position, for the tool, for money. And now you're competing against each other making categories like from 1 to 10. How much money do you make? Okay. And as we rise up the hierarchy with more money, more materialistic, then we perceive ourselves as to be better than somebody else, to have more power than somebody else, because see, we turned everything into an arena, a sport, a competition. And that's where that
Obsession
mentality
with
comes from.
this obsession with hierarchy, exactly, hierarchy and
Yes.
competition. I mean, not enough guys in the manosphere blame the over competitiveness of our society. I think that's a huge factor right there.
Well, they want to tell you that our competitiveness is normal and it's natural and it's in our nature. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Never has been. Cremation of care, social engineering from decade after decade after decade to break down the fabric of what a human being is, to destroy our ability to connect with each other. When you're competing against each other, then you become enemies instead of friends.
Yeah, instead of a woman being a complement to a man, like marriages were 30, 40 years ago. And by the way, I have no real issue with women um, getting jobs or, but I feel like if a woman's getting a job just to compete with a man, right? Now we've got an issue where instead of being a complement to a man, or vice versa, a woman is now a competitor of a man. And that's what's driven down wages. That's what's created this hostility between the genders. We don't have a healthy dynamic between the genders in the West like you would have in, say, South Korea or even Japan with its excess of men. Women don't seem to be hostile towards these men in Asia. I don't know if you've noticed that. They seem to actually empathize with, oh, there's not enough women for the guys here. Even if the guys these guys with decent jobs have to pay women in Japan for company, the women, they don't have this hostility like you see with Western women.
Well, you don't see that over not in Manila, but on the opposite side of the Philippines. You'll see the same mentality in the women. The problem
Right.
with that is when you go overseas to get a woman, if you get a woman and bring her back to America, you're taking a woman away from a guy over there. You're creating the very issue over there that you have over here. Okay? And then when she gets here, with as corrupt as our society is, how long before that woman starts falling into the social engineering over here and now she becomes corrupted? See, so people don't stop and think about that. What you've got to do is you've got to change the behaviors. You got to get rid of competition. That would be a start. You don't belong competing against one another. Nobody does. You shouldn't have to compete for a career or move up a hierarchy with money. If you had a monetary system, if you redone the system and you had a monetary system that paid out an equal amount to everybody for the exact same job, but it was a very generous amount, okay, to everybody the exact same amount. You do away with a ton of division. You do away with somebody trying to rise above another.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we have now is Amazon is something like they have over 60 or 70% of all e-commerce is monopolized by Amazon
Yeah,
because they keep undercutting everybody. They now it's almost impossible to make money online. In most cases, you'd have to go through a lot of trial and error to find out something that works. I'm not complaining about not being a multi-millionaire. I'm just saying there's a lot of monopolization in our society. It's this winner take all economy, and that's
yes.
not, and it's
That
just not
is that
healthy.
is one of the biggest corruptions you've ever seen. In reality, when you want to pay attention, if you look at governments are nothing more than corporations. And leaders of governments are nothing more than CEOs of a corporation. Okay? And the corporation is controlled and owned by bankers, the 13 families. That's what you really have going on. The election BS that you're seeing is Hollywood. It's all an act. This is why no promises given are never kept. This is why, in America, they tell the children when they're going to school, if you do good one day, you can be a president. No, they can't. No, they can't. You can go back from the first president of the United States, corrupt the day's time, and you only have one president that wasn't related. All the rest are related. They're all family. So don't tell me you can be a president.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the whole idea of the American dream, and what's that comedian's name? He basically told you that you have to be asleep to believe it. Right on the money.
Yeah. We're really in true reality is the view. It is a dream. There's nothing in reality based on the American dream. It's just exactly that, a dream. It's an
Yeah,
illusion. It's a hologram, a mirage. It's not real.
and I mean, just look like people will criticize the TFL movement and say, "Oh, we just hate women," yada yada yada. Well, obviously, that's anyone who's listened to me will know I don't hate women. And furthermore, look at all the wealth inequality among men. Do you think men really care for each other if we have like 80% are basically rolling stones, and then you've got 20% who have some, or 18% with some semblance of wealth, and then the top 2% who are hoarding like 95% of it,
Yes. And
right?
then the ones under the top 2% that are hoarding it, okay, well, they're all competing against each other.
Yeah,
Because
Counselor Wright just said, agreed during capitalism amplifies women's social, sexual, economic, and cultural dominance over men. That's largely true, especially in major metropolitan areas like New York. I could see that being true for LA, although I haven't been to LA. And then of course Toronto, the Toronto area is a great example of that too.
well, yeah, that is true, okay? But when you get down to the root causes, the only way I can ever see of overturning the issues in the dating arena would have been if men would have taken MGTOW seriously and literally. And if you get men doing that in high numbers, okay, then more and more women are going to be out of touch with not able to get a man because you're not allowing that woman that power no more. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And once women have to go without a man long enough, the women are they're not gonna want to look TFL. Not what they've done to men. Oh no. And once women start having to go through the same BS themselves, then give it some time, and these women will actually come to common sense again. And only then can you get back together, communicate, and stop what's going on. That's the reason they took MGTOW to mainstream, was to destroy it. And they done exactly that.
TFL is the only one that they haven't really, um, I don't
No,
know,
they don't. They
right?
haven't destroyed TFL. TFL is the only one that give the name that it really was. I don't
That,
care if people don't like the name or not. for men who went out there and did everything society told them to do, the year after year was rejected in 1 to 5 seconds and shamed and put down. Okay? These men did not ask for that. That is being forced onto them. So TFL was the proper name. I don't care what people say, it was the proper name. Incel is sexually based. That goes back to if she won't fuck me, she won't date me. That goes back to that same mentality. Well, that mentality destroys. That's why I said the social engineering and what people are using was given to you to keep you from being in a relationship to destroy the genders. It's done exactly that. And then playing favoritism to women and placing them on a pedestal over the other, that's been promoted for years. Everything's marketed to women.
Yep. I mean, women are also the primary consumer. That's why. That's why I just when some woman might tell me something like, "Oh, well, men they're in the highest ranks of power, corporations, blah blah blah. Most of these CEOs are men." I'm like, yeah, but that's the top 2% of society. It's like, no, if you're a Rolling Stone or even respectable guys like you or me, Bill, who are hardworking, we're not going to get up to those ranks. It's just not. It's
No,
not.
you have to be a psychopath and you have to be willing to step on other people and destroy other people's lives to move up to the top because you're in a corrupt system.
Yeah, like guys like you, me, Steve, or Mitchell, we're not. That's not like our. It's just not part of our DNA.
Well, it's not part of their DNA. It's social engineering. They're already psychopaths, and because we've created everything to be a competition and everybody whatnot, and then we allow people like, example, you should never be able to do a family tree of presidents and go back to George Washington and find they're all related. That right there is a big red flag within itself.
Right. Right.
Okay? See, this is what happens when you get a hierarchy. Everybody wants to be at the top, and everybody's willing to shit on somebody else to get to the top. See, that's part of the cremation of care.
Well said. The cremation of care.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's a powerful way of putting it right there.
And that literally is part of the cremation of care.
Sums it up in 4 words right there.
Yeah.
Very succinct.
And unfortunately, because of that, unless we can change our perceptions and start caring as much about others as you care about yourself, you can never come back together again.
Yep. Absolutely. And you'll notice these people in power, regardless if it's, I don't know, in the U.S., there's Trump, Biden, whoever, or some powerful person who owns a sports team. They always put a megaphone to these people's blunders, and it's never these rich oligarchs that have to pay the price for for their actions. It always reflects on men as a whole. Men are entitled. Men just want sex. Oh, men just they just want to fuck.
Yep, yep, that's correct. And see, society's pushed that narrative deliberately, and a lot of people fall into it. You
Yep,
know,
it's either the race or gender.
yes,
They always conveniently ignore the class element, which is the real driving problem is classism, competition, and people's instead of working as like a cooperative, like okay, we'll both work hard in this capitalist system and allow our competitors to thrive along with us, so we don't have to constantly undercut each other, uh, write bad reviews to try to screw everybody over. No, what we have is an ultra competitive society that's bringing in foreign laborers to exploit them. By the way, they're not really getting a good deal themselves, um, and it's literally like they want to to just destroy that healthy heterosexual dynamic.
well, a part of it, a lot of it has to come down to do with Agenda 21 and the social engineering was, first off, they don't want people procreating no more. They don't want you creating babies. They've already got the technology to create babies in an artificial womb in a military laboratory, and they've already done it. So therefore, they don't want people breeding no more, so they can control the numbers. Okay, that's part of the Agenda 21, the population reduction. They
You
want
saying
to
they've done
control the
that?
numbers.
You saying they've done that in the states, or have they? I thought it was only China had done something like that.
No, that's been done more than one time. See, the illusion is that the governments are fighting each other. That's a mirage. That's an illusion. No, they're not.
Well, I agree. It's like Trump with China. Trump is China's lapdog. He just plays tough with them.
It's an act for the public. That's all it is. You just think about Hollywood. Your governments are corporations who are playing acts. They're following the orders of the 13 families. Okay? And they're going along with the agendas because of promised wealth, promised this. Okay? And because of the status ship they're in. And people for the tool money have all been sold out all the way to the bottom. That's why you're having trouble finding good mayors and and good governors and anything else in your countries, because from the top to the bottom of the structure that was designed, okay, they have lied, manipulated, and fooled everybody, and people have sold out. This is why you see people on YouTube like High Impact Flex, who I like to just call him Alex Jones Jr. Okay, he wouldn't even be on YouTube if he wasn't making money. He wouldn't be nowhere online if he couldn't make money. He wants to talk about the corruptions in society while he's keeping the very tool that's keeping him enslaved.
Right.
Take his money away from him from being online telling the truth, and he'll disappear. I've never made a dime off of what I do. I do it from my heart because I want to, because I care, and I want what's going on stopped. See, there's a difference between coming up and doing something for the right reason or doing it for the wrong reason. And in today's society, if you're talking about NWO or Agenda 21, what's coming down, and you have to have money to do it, you're a piece of crap. You're absolutely not awake. And if you claim you're awake, you're a fraud.
Right.
Because since when do you got to have the very people's money who's done this to you? You can't fight back and accept their tools.
I mean, I do think making money is kind of a necessary evil, and like we all have to.
Well, it became necessary because everything was built on it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I
It
think
don't mean
also.
you can't take it back away from the people who have it. How do you
Right.
think John F. Kennedy got himself killed? Because he was dead serious about giving the monetary system back to the people of America, which means he would have been throwing the Rothschild dynasty out of here, because that's who owned the Federal Reserve. Okay? Well, that means throwing a banker and an elite family out of America and giving the monetary system back to the people, which means the bankers can't control the country no more. So he got himself killed.
Like I do, like in terms of all the men living TFL out there, I do wish they can have enough money to live off of without having to be a slave to, essentially slave, a 9 to 5 slave for people who hate them.
Well, in reality, if people work together worldwide, we could have everything we wanted with people working 4 hours a day. Seriously.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
If
No,
you
it's
worked 4 hours a day and people did it 24 hours a day and everybody worked in unison together, people would only have to work 4 hours a day to have all of our needs met. That includes your electronics, your everything, right? And if
mhm,
you took a monetary system with that kind of setup and you paid everybody a really wealthy portion for their work every month, right?
right.
That would guarantee you a good living, okay? And everybody was paid the exact same amount. You wouldn't hear no complaints from nobody, and you wouldn't have nobody rising above nobody else. You got to take the mentality that causes the driving force to happen away.
Yeah. I mean, this is also partly if you look at the monetary policy of most Western countries, we've got these artificially suppressed interest rates. And what does that do? That just inflates the assets that are primarily held by the rich.
Yes.
And now seniors who have saved their little nest egg and are relying on interest to supplement their government pension are screwed. This government is not your friend. These governments are not your friend. They do not.
They are not your friend. They don't care about you whatsoever. All they do, they're just like a majority of people, unfortunately, except for they're in a better position. You know what they care about? Their own selfish interest.
Hmm. Like I said, if I posted this comment on I think one of Steve's videos. I said that if somebody's neighbor, like let's say they live in a condo building, gets evicted, they're either going to just tell the neighbor about how great their grandchildren are doing, how their grandchildren have great jobs, or if they see him at the grocery store or something, they're going to backtrack down the aisle. They're going to try to avoid talking to him. Because if somebody is going through economic hardship, it's like, oh, you don't want to catch that disease, right? Right, Bill?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be there for him, I'm not saying give him the moon and the stars. I'm just saying instead of being a listening ear, a shoulder to lean on, people have become so competitive that they almost enjoy seeing the suffering of their own neighbors. Oh, because at least it's not happening to me. Oh.
Yeah, well, you pay attention because we go right back to sports again. We brought you boxing. We brought you all kinds of different wrestling. We brought you wrestling. We brought you all kinds of sports that promote violence. Okay, and so now the mentality also is seeing somebody suffer gives me a ego boost, a power trip. Huh. I get my little feeling inside that makes me feel powerful when I'm watching somebody else suffer. Although I wouldn't want to suffer that way myself. There's your mentality right there in your face.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point, Bill.
You know,
Capitalism is self-destructive like any other society. Yeah, when you have pure unfettered capitalism, this is what happens. Like we're seeing right now, rioting, looting, people having no safety net. That this is
they're
what happened.
not
This is
going
pure.
to. The rioting and the looting and the so on, even right down to the auditors. You're finding on YouTube all over the place, auditing for the First Amendment. All they're actually really doing is causing more friction. A lot of them.
Mhm.
You know, I've watched some of these auditors who they'll go outside some workplace and they'll just stand there for 15 minutes, 10 minutes straight, pointing their cameras at the building or in the building or at the people outside working. Then they'll keep standing there and keep standing there pointing the cameras at them. Well, of course, you know, if you were on your job and you were outside working and somebody was outside the freaking grounds pointing their freaking cameras at you and never taking their cameras off you and following you around with a camera, you would most likely approach them like, what are you doing?
Right.
Oh, that's what they're doing. And I've seen some of these auditors, that's what they're doing. And then they're getting their rocks off on it. And then the police will be called for them and they'll make sure they stayed on the walk. And then the police will harass them and this and that. And then they'll, if I got my First Amendment and I have a right to film anything that's in my eyesight, blah, 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 shit. Throwing the Constitution in their face, right? So really what they're doing is they're stirring up more division. They think they're doing good for the cops, but they don't understand the cops ain't never going to change because the cops are following orders for money. Then for one, for two, in America, they don't hire cops who recognize the Constitution or recognize people's rights. They hire cops who are bullies and will follow the orders. And for the money, they're not going to change. Ah, why would I change what I'm doing that I'm being told to do by the system when they're paying me this kind of money per year? I need my income. I can't live without my money because I got to pay my rent, or I got to pay my mortgage, I got to buy food, I got this, I got that. You see how the system has set you up? Because when you say we need money, you're correct. You're not wrong. Okay? Because the entire system was so set up on it. But it was set the wrong way. It was set to put you in debt. It was set to be on a hierarchy. It was set to do exactly what it's done. It has to be overturned.
Interesting.
If you don't overturn it, take it back and do it right, this is going to go on and on and on and never ever change.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And I don't know how to get it off the ground. I can only tell you I know what needs to happen. I know what needs to happen to put a stop to all of this.
Do you think it has to get really bad before it kind of corrects? Well, like, do you think
Well, they right now, I've been watching the layouts of Agenda 21 step by step. They've been following the playbook. And if that continues to happen by 2025, at least 80% of the United States population will be dead. And by 2030, the entire world's population will be reduced down to the numbers they want. And that's for real. That's what's coming. And it's going to happen in so many different ways. They've already set the stage. I mean, it's playing right in people's face. Just in this last year, the stuff that's happened guarantees you food shortages in the upcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed. I mean, I'm sorry, there's going to be so much bad coming down the line that if we don't stop what we're doing right now and get our heads out of our, start not complying, they're not going to stop. Because only we, the people of this world, can stop them. We have to recognize where these people are getting their power from, and we have to stop complying. Now, how do you get that done? You got to get the military, the majority, to be able to put down their weapons and say, "Up yours." You got to get cops to be willing to recognize what's going on. Law enforcement. But how are you going to do that? That's the problem.
I was gonna say, I feel like as a guy who, I'm not necessarily living TFL now. It's a bit of a gray area that I'm in, with a very good friend of mine. She's a very nice lady, but as somebody who's lived TFL for an extended number of years, and I'm kind of TFL in certain other respects, whether you can call that economically or whatnot. I wonder if, I don't know if any other guys in the chat can relate, but it's very hard to trust people because of how society views us. We're seen as like a menace, a danger. Single guys are seen as dangerous. They're seen as.
Oh, they are. Speaking of that, I was listening. Now, this is one of them Karen videos. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
Okay, this is one of them Karen videos. This gal having a flip out. And she was accusing the guy of being dangerous, and he's probably an incel. She literally called him and said, "You're probably an incel. You're one of them nuts. You're dangerous to women."
Most abuse happens within the confines of a family unit.
I know.
Or a so-called family unit. We know how relationships are not formed in a healthy way anymore. Apparently, it's considered abnormal to want to be friends with a woman nowadays.
Well, unfortunately,
that's social engineering.
It is. It's social engineering 101 right in your face, because the foundation of any successful relationship with a woman starts with friendship.
Yeah.
And if you can't create a friendship, you could never have a relationship. The foundations is friendship and communication and feelings, good communication, respecting each other's feelings, not trying to change somebody or shape somebody to your want, liking them for who they are. Relationships are built. They don't happen overnight, they're built. And if you ever want some successful relationship, it has to be built. And if either party fails in them areas, the relationship will fall apart. Well, they have completely screwed the foundation. And that's why you've heard me over the years tell people they don't know what they're doing. Because they don't. They actually really don't. Yes?
I just happened to see something interesting on Hulu that I know you're going to be interested in.
What's that?
The latest freaking Terminator Dark Fate is on there.
Oh, they made another one?
Oh, that one's been out probably earlier this year, about late last year.
Okay.
I know I remember telling you before it was out. It's been a long time.
Okay, I'll have to go look.
Because I know how much of a Terminator fan you are. But I think I should let you know.
Okay.
I'm just wanted to reply to one of the comments in the comment section here. Dark Cell from the Underbelly says, "Being single is fantastic. Don't make the mistake of thinking you are missing out." Well, even if you do, enjoy being single. You're not guaranteed work that's going to last. Your employers are going to view you with suspicion. Like we were saying earlier, as a single guy, you're going to be seen as dangerous. Not everybody can get a job in as an IT genius or in the trades. It's just not.
No, that's not going to happen. The technical crats have taken over, and
Yeah.
The reality is they better understand the Great Reset is part of NWO, and it's happening right now. And at the end of the reset, everything's going to become automated, and there ain't going to be much for jobs left for people. You're going to be locked down in the city you're in. You're not going to be allowed to travel. You're going to be on a social credit score, and most jobs will be petty ass jobs, and everything's going to be automated. So there's going to be a lot of people who won't be able to work because robotics have been taking over and people don't see it. And I've been watching it for years, and it's getting worse and worse.
And here's the thing, Bill, is the people who are the automation deniers, they'll tell you that, oh, it's never going to happen. Look at how these robots, they can't even pick, deliver a parcel, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make sense. They're focusing, the problem is they have a cartoon in their mind about robots literally marching to take the jobs of menial workers, or even workers like myself. I've got news for them. Most of this automation, it's artificial intelligence. It's bookkeeping. It's low-level legal work. I think something like 50% of accounting is going to be wiped out.
Well, I can tell you this, like Roston Purina, who makes dog food and cat food, right?
Right.
They were bought out by Nestle, but they're in this town, and I worked in there several years back. I'm going to tell you how sophisticated the system is. You get people on a line off a machine that's putting the food in the package, sealing the package, sending it down a conveyor belt. You pick up a box that's brand new off the pallet sitting next to you. You unfold it, fold the flaps over, hold it in your hand with one flap sticking out. You pack the box, flip it over with no tape done. You stick it on a freaking fuse machine that tapes and seals both sides. It goes down a conveyor belt, drops onto another, and goes down. And a robot's picking the boxes up off the line and keep it up and putting them on a pallet. And another robot shrink wrapping it. And the forklift driver comes along and picks it up and takes it away. Now, then used to be jobs that somebody would take the packages, the boxes, and have to tape them, and somebody would pack them on pallets, and somebody else would have to shrink wrap them. Well, all of them jobs are gone to machines. And that's only the beginning. I could take you into plastic molding factories and everything else where you have press operators right now, and you have some machines that are fully auto, and you have robots doing the work. So no, don't even go there. The robotics is freaking, and through AI and programming and computers, there's going to be a lot of jobs going out the door. I'm not talking about McDonald's or Burger King. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and here's another thing with the automation. They'll tell me, oh, this is just fear mongering. It's never going to happen. Well, firstly, how do they know that? And secondly, they would not be investing companies like Amazon would not be investing billions of dollars in automation if it didn't result in a net job loss, meaning
Yes.
a huge net job loss. The driving forces are financial incentives to pay their workers.
Well, it's been going on under their nose for the last 20 years. The automation in factories have gotten more and more and more. They've been slowly bringing it in right under people's noses, and people ain't paying attention. If people would start paying attention, they'd realize more and more jobs are being lost to machines every day.
But Bill, automation's going to create new jobs.
Yeah, okay.
That's exactly why they're automating.
It created a couple of jobs for techs to keep the machines running.
Exactly.
And that's about
it. No, this is a delusion.
You used to have 150 employees, now you got 5 employees.
Exactly. People literally think that it's going to create more wealth and new jobs for people than it's destroying. And even if it magically did, not every guy is cut out for being some whiz-bang IT guy. It's just not. It's not. But you know, then again, we do live in a very conformist society that blames the individual man for all his problems. Pin the tail on the single TFL man, right? Pin the blame on the single TFLer.
Well, you know that's the design. That's what they done. They took the lower class. They took the people they know they could totally screw and make broke and be and the guys that would definitely be alone based on the social engineering, and they paint them out to be. You know that's why incel's not good. It's incel is an elite created thing. It came out of a university. And anybody that's awake at all and understands that things come out of university are being controlled and set by the elite. Okay? Incel is not a good thing. Incel is to demonize men. Incel is the targeted that they're using against men. Okay, so people need to understand that. Incel is not a good thing. It helps to further the agenda.
Yeah,
TFL is untouchable for them because TFL, I've said from day one what TFL really is about. And they know that and they have trouble with that one. They can't get around, you know. It's hard to get around something that's real, grassroots real, and that promotes the things they don't want.
right. That you'll notice any articles covering that whole incel phenomenon or psyop. They always focus on the sex, on men. Oh, they're just sex. These Western men. They're just a bunch of sex fiends. Oh, we'll write an article about or maybe the Asian writer from Hong Kong or whatever will write an article about the excess male issue in China. They'll always cover it very empathetically, right? Like they should. Like they should. Oh, these are good guys. They can't find. But when they talk about men in the West, oh, they're entitled. They're puss hounds. Oh, they're just sitting around in their basement. They want to just hog tie women up in a line and just they use that word fuck bang and here's the thing, that's part of programming. Is this language has been through music, popular culture. It's all done very in a way to make men scare women.
Well, it is. It was deliberately done. You scare men, you know. Think about it. Through years of the media, we've painted men out to be rapists, villains, perpetrators. The guy's going to hit his woman, he's going to beat his woman. And then
Right.
we give you the double standard of there's no excuse to ever lay your hands on a woman. Okay, a woman gets taught, you know, we went to school as a kid and they got taught right off the bat that a boy's never put his hands on a girl. Okay? The girls hear this their whole life, so when they get older, they put their hands on the boy, and the boy puts his hands on her back to defend himself against her. Oh, well, she's weaker. No, that's not necessarily true. Not necessarily true at all. You get a girl that goes out and works, you get a girl that goes out and does all the same work the guy does, she's going to be every bit as strong as the guy. I've seen this so many times when people are deluded and think that women are weaker than men. We have a lot of little men too, and it doesn't mean crap, okay? If women were so weaker than men, then ask yourself this. If you come through your door, you thought everything was fine, and you didn't know she was standing there behind that door with a baseball bat, and she cold cocked you, you think that wouldn't hurt? Well, she's a woman. I wouldn't feel it. I'm sure you won't when you wake up in the hospital if you wake up.
Right.
It's all part of the programming. People need to understand that, man. You got to get the genders back together again, and this BS of women are weaker than men, that needs to go away. Wording has been a very powerful tool. People got to pay attention to wording because wording can shape your perception.
Yeah, I was just saying in the comments here, in some Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, women can't do. There's a few superficial things they can't do, like driving. I think is a bit of an issue, but other than that, I don't know. You'll listen to some, um, like this guy Mufti Menk. He was saying essentially men should be half of their income should go towards their family, which makes sense if they have a wife and kid. But the other something like the majority of the rest of their income should go towards their wives. So the notion that the Middle East is some haven for men and it's a patriarchy, I think is flawed. I don't think that's telling the whole story. I think gynocentrism is an international phenomenon.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I'm
Deception.
not talking about. I'm not fantasizing about some 1950s thing where, oh, the woman, you have to cook and make me that kind of thing. Oh, and then I don't even want to spend time with my kids. I want to work my long hours and just come home and watch football. No, that's not what I fantasize about. I fantasize about having a healthy dynamic between the genders, like we've got with Korean people. Like they'll be going shopping together. These couples will be going shopping together. They'll be going to the gym together. They'll both own a mom and pop type variety store, or just kind of like the European immigrants of old, like where the couple would own their own pizzeria and they kind of work their way up the ladder slowly. All that is gone now. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Except maybe with these small groups of you've got these small groups of Asian immigrants who haven't kind of fallen for the shit show that the West offers. The competition between the genders. They're more cooperative, but
Yeah. Well, I just wish people could get their, really stop and think about what they're doing in their own behaviors and self-check themselves.
right.
Because the key, I guess, is to be able to treat each other right and stop competing against each other.
Hmm.
I mean, that is the real key. If you can stop competing against each other and start treating each other right and respectably, you're going to get a whole lot further than you are when you're going to continue to keep playing with the antics that's going on.
And Bill, I wanted to say something else from I think I mentioned in the comments earlier. Not sure if you saw it, but I suspect a lot of these crazy fringe, whether it's black supremacists, white supremacists, whatever supremacist groups, are actually being funded by the neoliberal elite corporations to get working men at each other's throats, to make them more gynocentric,
Yeah,
create division.
no, I agree with you totally. I agree with you totally. I do believe that is the real case because they pulled out all stops for division. They've done everything possible for division. They want us all divided. They want us broke up. They want men alone. They want women alone. They want to control the birth rate. Okay, they want to reduce population down to their number. I mean, you're talking about a bunch of psychopathic bankers that are running this world, and they need stopped.
I think Trump was put into position just like kind of selected to
He was selected. He wasn't
make
just
white
going.
men look
Oh,
like
come
to
on,
make
him and Hillary Clinton are cousins. That was
it's
all a damn act again. They're selected. They're put in. Trump will be back in office again. Watch. Except for there is a play card off The Simpsons where they had Trump in a coffin. So you got to watch that. He may get back in office for another term, then suddenly they may have him die, but I'll guarantee he won't be dead. We're going to have to watch and see how it plays out because there's a lot of nasty shit that could happen. Because nothing's been normal this year at all. Everything has been Agenda 21.
yeah, yeah, you're right out of the playbook. Eh?
Yes.
Uh,
So I don't expect anything normal to come out of this election either. Basically, this selection, not election.
Selection, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And like I was saying, I think that's what's her name, the spouse of the former of Obama, was telling people on TV not that we have to come together and she's bullying voters. She's saying if you vote Green or third party or something, that's throwing. It's not the time for a protest vote to throw your vote away. I mean, that is disgusting. That a woman like her who lives in Martha's Vineyard on like a fucking in a $50 million mansion is shaming working people.
It is, I get so frustrated
She's
because I'm
just like Trump. She is just like
yeah,
Trump. I don't see how Nancy Pelosi. There's another one. Look how much Nancy Pelosi has financially benefited from Trump being in power. They work together.
well, yeah, and
They
then
both,
let's look at their age. Why ain't these people retired? Why have we got people in all these positions that are the age they are?
yeah, she's 80 years old or something. Yet she looks like she's 60.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's insane. And she blocked. I believe. I mean, I'm in Canada, so I'm not totally native to everything going on in the States, or aware of everything going on in the States, but I know that she blocked stimulus sent out to people.
Yeah.
You could argue that Trump he has no plans to help people long term, but it was better than nothing, right?
Yeah, well, the
Or he was
stimulus.
doing it for re-election or whatever. People have their cynical reasons, which could be true. I'm in no way do I support Trump, but the fact that she was blocking money that people desperately needed for politics to play politics, the political theater is disgusting.
Yeah.
That's an evil person.
Well, unfortunately, that is the majority of them. They're a corporation and they're wealthy themselves, and it's all a show anyhow. You got to figure, first off, the only reason the first stimulus was sent out was to buy people's calmness, to lure them into what they've done, okay? The second stimulus is just toying around with people because they've already got digital money in place. Matter of fact, Kodak, the camera company, helped to create the new digital currency for this country. It's already on the books. Everything's there. The digital system's sitting there ready to go. It's just a matter of when they pull the trigger and flip it over to digital. You don't want your currency going digital.
Yeah, I'm just replying to Counselor Guy. I'm a big fan of this Andrew Yang guy, but I feel like they wouldn't want him in power because he doesn't divide people the same way.
No, they're not going to let somebody in power that actually cares about what's right and wants to do what's right. They'll kill them.
Yeah.
If anybody ever noticed, even with the so-called pandemic that's going on, all of your officials are up there doing the opposite of what they're telling you to do. It's sort of like do as I say, not as I do. And that's really what you have going on. They're making a mockery out of the people right in our face. Anymore, I call my medical system here in America, I call them Nazis. Because the majority of them know that shit's not right, but yet they're not willing to give up their income to do what's right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's bizarre. You'll have people of all political stripes though defend or who support vote for both parties defending the American medical system. I mean, the system in Canada is not perfect, but I think it's a vast improvement over the like your system. It's just so centered around
Oh, our system's
health
all about
insurance.
money. It's all about greed.
Health insurance, yeah.
It's all about greed, man. It really is. Okay. And if you ain't got money, so what? You're sick and die. Who cares? I mean, really, that's what it's like. And then you got them pushing this damn bullshit when they already know. I mean, you can go on legit medical websites and you can pull up on the face mask and you'll see that they know not protect you. Just like Kerry Mullins, the guy that created the test they're using to test for this invisible bug, and when he created the test back in 1981, he was given an award for that test he created. Okay, and then Kerry Mullins said to everybody, he told them straight out, this test can never be used to diagnose a virus or pathogen. It's not designed for that. Okay, because what it looks for, everybody has in their body at one time or another. What do you think? They test because they can make anybody positive they want.
Bill,
It's all fraudulent.
Bill, are you saying I'm not protected when I strap on my homemade string and coffee filter?
No, you're not. No. No, sorry. The water went right through and made coffee in your nose.
Oh man. Anyways, Bill, speaking of that, I gotta go grab some coffee from the store. So it was great catching up with you. Hopefully we can touch base about this shit show, this TFL corporate oligarch.
Yeah.
It's like a really bad movie playing out or something.
Yep. That's okay. I've been up here for a while, so I'm probably going to get out of here myself, guys. But hey, I appreciate talking to you again, home.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Yep. You take care of yourself and everybody else. You have a good one. And until the next time I get angry. Have a good one.
It's all good. Take it easy, guys.
Yep. Bye bye.